It took Spurs 72 days to appoint Nuno. He's been in charge just under 90 days, I think, now. And already the conversations are around whether or not he is the right man for that job. Our great friend Danny Kelly, a massive Spurs fan, went in on Nuno. Not right for the job, never was right for the job. They should have, he didn't say sack, they should have parted ways with him at half time against Arsenal. Me and Ali, I think, are in agreement here, Ali, aren't we? In terms of like, you've got to really give him more time.
Of course, you've got to give him more time. I mean, listen, it was no secret that he wasn't the first choice, of course, so he'll know that as well, because he went for the interview. I think they spoke to about 6 or 7 different managers, but they were obviously talking about Nagelsmann. They had no chance of getting him whatsoever. He was never going to go there. So for me, you've got to give him more time. Yes, of course, the start of the season. They weren't saying this the first 3 games of the season when they were sitting top of the table and 3 games in, no goals conceded. Arsenal were rock bottom. It was all singing and dancing then. Yeah. But all of a sudden now, the last 3 games, 9 goals conceded. But I think when you appoint a pragmatic manager and you play this way where you're kind of playing that counter-attacking football, you always run the risk that eventually 1 goal won't be enough, or if it does suddenly change and you start leaking goals, how do you come out of that? And I think that's where Spurs are at the minute. I mean, as I said, it's a bit harsh on Nuno, and I understand that he's maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but you've got to give him more time. You're talking about, what, 7 games in the Premier League? Come on.
100%, Benty, man. I mean, come on, let's...
People getting carried away.
Listen, I said to Woodsy just before you come in, Jamie's on yesterday. Last week he was wanting Arteta out the door. He's not good enough. This week it's Solskjaer again. Come on, everybody just calm down. Everybody calm down. You'd be sacked managers every week, man. If you weren't happy with teams' results. Poor performance, very poor result. You're absolutely right. And with Clive on Bent, and it's just a coincidence, bizarre. He said that the drop in form in terms of results as well has actually coincided with Harry coming back in the team, and Harry isn't playing anything like to the ability we know he can. But I think we're probably all in agreement that that's only a matter of time before that comes back. I don't know whether he has been affected at the lack of the move that he'd maybe set himself up for, and he's taking his time to get a little bit get going again. But I would say, not knowing Harry Kane, but watching him as a player and listening to his interviews, A, he'll be 100% committed, and B, it's just a matter of time before he starts scoring goals again. Do you know what? He's playing like Harry, and listen, you're right, he doesn't look anywhere near his usual self, but he's looking like, to me, someone at the end of last season thought 100% that he was gone. Yeah. Like that so in his mind he's thinking, right, I'm not coming back to Spurs, I'm going to Manchester City, it's just about kind of getting the deal done, but I'm going to be a Manchester City player so I can go and focus. So he looks like to me that, right, 100% I'm going. And now it's not happened. He just looks like, how does he kind of get out of this, right, in terms of, because even the way he's kind of sometimes moping about the pitch is a little bit subdued, and it's not like Harry Kane. I mean, obviously the first half where he made the mistake, at least he tried to get back and try and avenge that mistake. Benny, that summed it up for me. That summed up Harry Kane and Spurs to a lesser degree at this moment in time. Gives the ball away, wants to work, he does the right thing, wants to work his socks off to get it back, puts in a good challenge, and the ball just
falls back to Saka.
You know what I mean? Bang. It's just one of these things.
Do you think when Nuno took that job, he would have been promised that Harry Kane was staying at Spurs?
Yeah, most probably. They would have said that. Well, no, he's not going anywhere, so you've got him to work with. But it's almost like you look at Nuno in terms of at Wolves. To me, he likes a centre forward that runs, that has got pace. You look at Raul Jimenez, brilliant. Diogo Jota on one side.
How good was that the weekend as well? By the way,
what a goal by the way as well.
How good was that? I knew you'd love that.
Yeah, great finish. Nice to see him back as well. Yeah. And you look at the Manchester City game, first game of the season. To me, that is a Nuno team in terms of sitting, defend deep, and then hit you with pace. Son, Bergwijn, Lucas Moura. It works really, really well. Now, of course, Harry Kane has to come back into the team because Harry Kane is arguably one of the best centre forwards in the world, even though he's not showing that at the minute. So I wonder, Nuno, he's almost forced to. He's got a player like Harry Kane, so he has to play him. But do I think Nuno probably wants to go that way in terms of his centre forward dropping off really, really deep, or does he want 3 up the top end of the pitch that can run? I think he'd prefer to probably have the 3 that he had at the start of the season. I really do. But as I said, Nuno's only 6 games in. You've got to give him time. You can't keep saying every time they bring a manager in. Not every manager's Pochettino, for starters. We know how good he was, but you need to stop judging managers at Spurs by Pochettino standards, because he had a better team.
Which is the same as, to be fair, what everybody's done at Manchester United since Fergie, to be honest with you.
You're never going to lift them standards.
It's completely unfair. But I'm with you, mate. I mean, and I'm with you, Woodsy. I love listening to Danny. He's really, really knowledgeable. But I'm just wondering if it's a little bit of a need. He might, because he's very thoughtful in what he thinks and what he says. But I was half of me thinking, is it a kind of knee-jerk reaction to losing a North London derby in the manner that they did lose it? Or will he still feel like that in a couple of days' time? That would be interesting to ask him.
Well, Danny Kelly was saying that he felt like that from the beginning. As soon as he knew that it was Nuno that was taking over, he knew it wasn't going to be the right fit, and he's offered to eat a hat of any choice apart from a metal-based hat if it goes on to be a success.
But who did they think they could get?
Well, I think that's the thing. He was maybe the 6th choice or something like that, which I think is, as a manager, and you've been a manager, Ali, if you know you're going in there and you're maybe 6th or 7th choice, does it affect the way that you feel about that club at all? Does it kind of make you go, oh, I know I wasn't the first choice? Or
it's bound to a little bit. You know, even to the same extent, if, for example, Bent, you're a centre forward, and the club have come in for you, but they've already been knocked back for 4 centre forwards, and you're the 5th.
You'd know about that.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
14 minutes in.
But you know what I mean? I don't care what anybody says. It would be, I'm not saying it would affect your job, but it's certainly something you would think about. But you're only human, aren't you?
Might as well, and genuinely speaking about this, if you're the player that comes off the bench and you've got a point to prove, it might actually make you perform a bit better. But I don't know if that is the same way with managers.
Do you know what, right? I remember at the very start when they were looking for a manager, and I said about Graham Potter, and the amount of Spurs fans that said, no, we don't want him, he's not good enough, they need someone of a different level. Well, look where the two clubs are now. It's Graham Potter for me is one of the best upcoming managers there is around in the Premier League. I think young and English, but they turned their nose up at him. So I don't understand what manager they expect they can get.
Do you not think there's a degree though, Benty, that top clubs, rightly or wrongly, there has to be, and I hate the word, like a sexy appointment, whether it's a European coach or I think there's an element of that. I really do.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Spurs fans, let us know how you're feeling today. 8 10 89 at TS Breakfast. Now the dust has settled.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.